Welcome to another wonderful episode of Unfiltered Limin podcast. Get ready for an episode that is hotter than Scotch bonnet pepper and more dramatic than a soap opera. It's the Caribbean parenting showdown where laughter and tears collide in a carnival of chaos. Brace yourself for the twists and turns and slippery flinging spectaculars that will leave you gasping for air. Don't miss out. Hit play and let the good vibes roll. Sakpase. Welcome to the Unfiltered Limin podcast. Join us as we reflect on our personal journeys and share our insights, experiences, and stories. From food to music, language to customs, we explore what it means to straddle two cultures and find a sense of belonging in both. Whether you're a first generation Caribbean American, a seasoned veteran, or simply curious about the rich tapestry of cultures that make up the Caribbean diaspora, this podcast is for you. We are your hosts, Bertide, the Haitian sensation.
Lisa, the Dominica diva.
No one's talking, so let's get unfiltered.
Alrighty.
Let's talk about our Caribbean parents. What are they like? That is the question of the century. We will probably never have a one-time answer, but when it comes to Caribbean parents, they one thing that's certain: they got unique flavor.
They do. Spice. Too much spice. Too salty. Not salty at all.
You
Bland.
just never know where all the flavors is gonna come together. You're gonna get jambalaya. You're gonna get a bunch of soft, sweet, crunchy. Right?
Girl, or you just might get a pot of broth. That's what you might get.
Lord.
I'm just saying.
Oh my.
Oh God, whether it's the side-eye stare they might give you, or the even better, the legendary slipper discipline. Well, you know what, too? The slipper discipline, and it probably for them back home, which is actually similar to the American culture, is probably go outside and get a branch off the tree.
Oh, the belt.
Right?
The
Oh, the
belt.
belt. The
Or
belt. Yeah. We can't
yeah,
forget
like
about the belt.
my Caribbean parents were like, I got the eyebrow. I can't wait my eyebrow. I got the one eyebrow, the stare. What is it? The stare, like you said, the side
Stare.
eye stare,
Mm-hmm.
where you just knew
Mm-hmm.
you didn't want to look their way because you already knew what you already done did.
It's about to go down.
It's
You
about to
knew
go
when that up. Woo, the
down.
anxiety. The
That's
anxiety, you know, is going down.
Oh my God. And that was the best. And it's funny because as now I had a child, I do that because about Caribbean parents, I feel like they don't like to be embarrassed. So they're not gonna, some of them are not, like I know from mine, they were too, what they call it, bougie or uppity to want to in public be yelling at you for no damn reason because
Mm-hmm.
you're embarrassing
Mm-hmm.
them. So the
Exactly.
silent side eye stare, you got
Mm-hmm.
that? Look at here now.
Yep.
They gonna give you a couple of looks. So that's the thing. You gotta catch the looks. Because you get one look, that's a warning. Two
Yep.
looks, you cutting it close. The side eye stare, when you get home, you better find that branch or that belt.
And don't forget the sucking of the teeth too. You know when they suck that teeth, it's on. It's on when they suck that teeth. Woo, girl, you know you in trouble.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So yeah, Caribbean parents, they are definitely side eye staring you. And but explain the slippery discipline. That's the part you gotta explain that one, L.
Slippery discipline, meaning that this is sliding slope. It could switch up. I mean, you could have a stool thrown at you, like you mentioned about the bush, or you can. It could be anything, yo. The belt, the whooping, they will chase you down, and don't try to
Mhm.
run. Don't try to run.
And I have to say, like, so again, connecting it to our American culture, I feel like as we speak to both sides. I have African American friends, their parents discipline them very similarly.
Yeah.
Very strict.
Yeah.
They're the same thing when it comes to that kind of a discipline as the people. I think those are very similar. Those are very, and I think it's not to say anything what I'm about to say next because it's disclaimers perspective. There are certain they don't discipline their kids the same, but I think as a people in general, whether you're Caribbean or whether you're American, I think there's certain discipline core value that we all share that is very similar to how you should be acting. There are certain things you don't do in public. There are certain things your parents are gonna wait till you get home to take care of. So I think it's just Caribbean parents add another flavor to it.
Yeah, they do. And then also too, you realize also too with Caribbean, like if you get in trouble and then like if another family member comes over and they know about it, and then it's like you get in trouble from that family member too.
Yes,
Mm.
it's passed on. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I
It's
would agree
passed
with
on.
you. And
Yeah,
then
so
if
it's not only your parents.
exactly. And or you get the
Mm-hmm.
talk from every family member as to why you
Uh,
doing that to your parent. They work very hard to be to where you are. So it's like they make you feel so you might not get a spanking, but you're gonna get a good talking to because it's gonna go around the merry-go-round like, you know what this child done did? And it could be a minor thing, a kid thing, but to Caribbean parents, you're like the worst. It's like you're demon possessed. You're just un unchanged. Like I don't know. They are extreme.
oh,
It's
better
like
yet, you're a wayward child.
yes,
You're a wayward child.
exactly. And
I
I'm
know I
like,
got that a lot. I got that
so
a lot.
Caribbean parents are kind of like that when it comes to the discipline. Their parenting style, though, in the Caribbean. Now, let's talk about that because I mean, is it just me, or do Caribbean parents have a black belt in creative discipline 101?
Oh, hell yeah, they do. Hell yeah, they do. Yeah. Shoot, they will discipline you without even saying nothing to you.
Yes. Sometimes you get in
Yeah.
trouble for not even knowing what you
You don't even know what you get in trouble for half the time. You be like,
You
I don't
just
even know
walk
what
in
I
the
did,
house.
but
Yes, you just walk
yep.
in the house, and guess what? You're in trouble. Why? You looked at me a certain way. I remember. So I will give you guys an example of the parenting style creative way. And I think when you go back to some of our for episode, I talked about that. I don't know who else got this, but in my household, we got where if you got in trouble, you know how they send kids in the corner, timeout. My timeout was to be in a corner on my knees, in a corner, timeout. You couldn't move. And there used to be like you have to be in the corner, facing the corner, your hands and you like on your knee. I don't know where Haitian parents got that from, but if I'm the only one, D-line, I know I'm not the only one. Me and my sister got that. We talked about this, but I was like, how did they think of this? Like, what? That to me, that's creative discipline. Would you guys not agree? Like, what?
That is
To be
I didn't
what I don't understand why that was. I don't know how that came about, but the liming crew, my Haitian deliming crew, if this happened to you
mhm.
as well, I please need y'all to help me not think that I'm crazy and I made this up in my childhood. I
Yeah.
love my parents dearly. I just feel like that was very creative. And I just would like to know where this creative discipline came from in the Haitian culture. Because in the American culture, it's similar to timeout facing the wall, but you're standing up, you can't move, you can't talk. So Haitians, the being on bended knee part, where did that one come from? I need to know what creativity came in your mind to say, hey, you're
That
gonna be a
was
timeout.
I can't say I had that one. I can't
What
say I had that.
what's a creative discipline, Lisa,
I
that your parents had?
I can't say I had that one. I don't know if this is creative, but if you get in trouble, they tell you go read a book. I don't know if that's creative.
Okay. Is that though? Okay, so let's talk about this one because I feel like that one is kind of borderline the American culture.
Go read a book? Oh. I don't know.
I mean, y'all tell
I
me.
think,
I just
yeah.
feel like it's more whoopings in the Caribbean, and whoopings is not abuse. Disclaimer: it's a form of,
No,
it's not abusing your children, but they spank. I'm sorry, spanking, not whooping, spanking,
there's
spanking.
a
I gotta use
difference. We got to
it.
clarify.
We gotta clarify: not beating your kid. And I'm just spanking your kids was
Hmm.
more the thing. I don't think I ever got. And again, Deliming crew let us know. Reading a book is that first, like, is that American culture? To me, I feel like it is, but I could be wrong. Yeah, let me know if your Caribbean parents told you to read a book when they could have slapped you upside your head.
I
they
mean,
didn't.
I had
They
a
didn't take. They didn't take the book and slap you upside your head.
no, no. I got a stool thrown at me, but
Oh,
nah,
a whole stool.
a whole stool came flying across the room. Now I remember that. I ain't never gonna forget that one.
My gosh. And we're laughing about it because it's a touch of laughter, tears, and all that mixed together, people. We got to laugh about
Yeah,
it.
yeah, it
I mean,
is. Yep,
it's
yep,
love. Like, again, we love them for it, but we have this content because that they're pretty creative. Now,
yep.
so we have their parenting style, we have what our parents are like. So how is the family structure in the Caribbean? All right, my
Family
listeners.
structure.
Yeah, let's speak about that. Let's speak into the family album of the Caribbean.
It's like a hierarchy. I mean, you have the grandparents. If you don't have grandparents around anymore, it's usually the eldest sibling,
Mhm.
and then yes, the eldest sibling pretty much on both sides of the family. And then also too, I feel like with the uncles and the aunts, so that's the siblings, so it's the oldest. And then it goes
Mhm.
to like the oldest cousin.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's like the oldest cousin. And then you got the pitneys running around. Yeah.
Ain't running around. Depending on where you are. So I do have to say, again, speaking from the Haitian culture, and I'm sure in Dominica and other, if you're first generation, whether you're from international across the water, Africa or other, I know the family structure is very tight. And from my experience is because in the Caribbean or in your homeland, you live so close together, right? Because you
Oh,
own your
yeah.
houses and all this stuff. So that knit is so close because you're in close proximity of each other, right? You have your elders, your grandparents. So that hierarchy is there definitely. And to the point where I remember when I was doing my family reunion and there were stories and they used to talk about how my my mom's siblings had an older brother, and when they had family disagreement, they used to go to this older brother for him because he was the oldest to be able to be like, when my
Resolve it.
grandfather, yeah, to resolve it when my
Mhm.
grandfather died. So it goes, even though, and sometimes they do look at certain aunts depending on their authority, but it is mostly very close knit. If there's a male, the male typically is, unless the male is a drunk or is just not worth anything, then they typically go to, I mean, that's just the truth.
It's
Like,
true.
you
They go to
gotta
the next
really,
one.
yeah,
You go
you
to the
really
next
gotta
one, yeah.
be, so it's either like, then it becomes maybe a female comes into play, like an aunt or somebody steps in, or an uncle steps in to be able to give that guidance and that structure. But it is very, like you said, hierarchy where the male, or even though the male might be the lead in a lot of things, they also respect the women. So they also separate how that hierarchy is. Like, the way
Mhm.
that they show respect, depending on if it's a great aunt, things like that. So that is, but very, very close together. And then they also look out for each other, look out for each other's kids. So let's say you go to university in the Caribbean and your university is far away, you might have a family member that lives there.
Mhm.
So they keep in touch to making sure you're good. So there's always
Yeah,
that, oh, where are they going? Do we have family there to make sure that they're eating, they're good, and things like that? So they really have that strong. Now, when you cross
yeah.
to this country now, that's a whole different thing. And not in a bad way, but if you happen to come here and you're close to family and you stay together, then they bring in the culture from the Caribbean island, and it's like a little like how you hear people say Miami, or there's little Haiti, little Italy, because they have
Yeah.
basically just taken
Mhm.
their culture, and now
Mhm.
that's why they call it that, right? So, but if you don't experience that, and let's say you move away, then I feel like in the American culture, we've lost that sometimes family
You get lost.
structure.
You get
That
lost.
it gets
Yeah, you
lost
get
because
lost.
there's so many different directions you could go if you're not staying close together. If you're not, making sure that the next generation, like my generation or the next generation, knows their roots and things like
Mhm.
that. So I think sometimes that family structure gets lost when we come over to
Mhm.
America, because
Yeah.
we're trying to
Yeah.
accomplish goals, accomplish different things, and
Mhm.
especially if we move away from where the hub is, if that makes sense what I'm saying.
Yes. And a perfect example of that, I feel like a lot of my family when they came up from, I think it's two sides, right?
Mhm.
When they came up from Dominica, there was basically a little Dominica in the
Yeah.
Bronx, okay? In the Bronx. So what's interesting is that my dad's side of the family, but his mother's side, my dad's mother's side were all in the Bronx. And they actually like have this co-op in the Bronx that they're all living in the building. They
Mhm.
basically have the building on lock. They
Mm.
basically half own the building, basically, right? So that's
Mhm.
my dad's mother side, right? Now, on my dad's father's side, they're all in Canada. And
Mm.
a lot of them actually like live in this same neighborhood. And I remember hearing it when I was younger, like they all lived together in this one neighborhood. And then, like, when this other new development came up, like they all moved to the next development or whatever. So they're all close. Now, on my mom's side, I feel like everybody was spread out. But my mom's younger sister, my aunt, she stayed in the Bronx too. And she moved to Jersey, but that in New York and Jersey, that's like 30
Mhm.
minutes away. That
Right.
doesn't count. It's still in the
Right.
same area or whatever. And then her other siblings, they were like all over like Texas. There's some in Canada. They have one in England. So my mom's side is all spread out. But I think I do think it's very good for the culture and the family structure if everybody kind of stayed in the same area. Cause I know even now, like my brother, he's like, he wishes like that we weren't so spread out. And then even like my cousins, a lot of us was in the Bronx, but then it's like once everybody hit college, after everyone graduated from college, they like dispersed. But there is a handful that all did go to Atlanta though. We
Let
got
me ask
DC, we got yeah, we're dispersed. But I do like how in Canada they got a tight knit up there and they're all close. I do love that.
That was going to be my question for you. So, again, with the family structure, and like you said, on your dad's family, they seem like to have more of a, unison. Or
Hmm.
does that affect how the relationship you have with the sides of that family? Are you closer to one side because of that? Or is it about this balance for you?
I think
Okay, that's good.
balance. Can I say I'm closer to one side than the other?
Just because, like you said, if you like, because I will use myself for example. My dad's family, they're not like so. Like my mom, I know a lot more of her family. You know what I mean? Than
Mhm.
my dad, and my dad's family is the same. They're a little bit dispersed, so I'm not as close to my dad's family as I would have said. If something would have happened, my mom family would be the first family that I would consider to reach out to, because they're just that there's a lot of them, and they're a little bit better family structure with them than I would.
Mhm.
Does that make sense? For a lot of different reasons of my dad's family, but it's just I do know
Well,
that
yeah,
I'm closer to my mom's family probably at
yeah.
this point.
I feel like my dad's side that's in Canada, I th ooh, that's tough. I wanna say overall, it's my dad's side on his mom and his father's side, they have a better structure
Mhm.
than my mom's side. Yeah. And I personally, I think that's the way to go.
Yeah.
I think that's the way to go. You
Yeah.
need to have that.
And I think the other thing too for me is I feel like there's a common goal, right? There's a common goal
Mhm.
when you're able to stay together because like you mentioned, your history, your roots, the culture gets to be passed down and not watered down, but it's you get to be prideful in that in a good way to show the next generation and it keeps passing down because if you don't, then who's going to do it for your family? I mean,
Mhm.
so I think that's
Mhm.
another thing too. And I do know for our family that's something that they do. Caribbean parents, they love their history, they love their roots, so that family structure helps them continues tradition, continues the food we eat, the music we listen to, just again the discipline, just certain things are just
Mhm.
automatically passed down because we keep that family
Mhm.
structure. Now I do know that in the American culture you have the family reunions, so it would be a little bit similar, that
Yeah.
structure to making sure that
Yeah.
you're keeping up with in every year. So that's a form of the same, I would say, balance that Caribbean versus our American culture, it's balanced because we're able to okay take the same things that you're doing and keeping your family structure to they're doing family reunions, and that's planning, and that typically is honoring your elders and that doing those reunion, and that's
Mhm.
uh, this generation puts it on, and then after a while they teach the next generation, because that was
Yeah.
a family reunion that I met and when I was on one of my properties, and they had been doing it for over 30 years. They had it
Yeah.
like they I think they set themselves up as a nonprofit or whatever, and they just
Mhm.
kept, their reunions, and that's how you keep it. You teach the young
Yeah.
ones, and they
Mhm.
they had a program to make sure the young kids were involved. So I think
Mhm.
on that one, when it comes to family structure, American versus Caribbean, we're similar in that we do it differently, but we're similar to making sure
Yeah,
that
we do it differently also too. We also use every situation to have a fet. I
yeah,
mean, we use
our families
every
never
situation. We gonna turn up. We gonna
yes.
turn up. It's gonna be carnival. It's gonna be a fet. There's gonna be music. There's gonna be rolling speakers. There's gonna be food.
Mhm.
Tons of food. It's definitely that's gonna be. So the next thing is dealing with parents who always put you down.
Look at here now.
I feel I
That's
feel
a
like we should
serious
skip
one,
that
Lisa.
segment.
That's a serious one because how do you deal with a parent who always puts you down? My friend
Me
Lisa,
personally?
the the floor is yours because I feel like I've talked a lot. I've digged my hole. I love you, mother. My father, rest in peace. I love you. I love
You said you
everything
digged
y'all.
your hole.
I,
Girl,
I
you ain't even start digging nothing yet. Shoot, you ain't even start. How I deal with it or how I've dealt with it in the
okay.
past?
Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold
eh,
on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on.
I
Hold on. Do you, first of all, to be able to answer that question, think very carefully. Do you want to have a parent that is always putting you down?
no, absolutely
Okay.
not.
Okay.
You said, do I want to have a parent?
No, do you have a parent that is putting you down?
I don't want to
Levels.
say always. No,
There you
there's
go.
levels to it. There's levels to it. I don't want to say always.
Yeah.
No,
And that's what I wanted to clarify because
but
if you do have a parent, whether it's Caribbean or any type of parent that's always putting you down, you need to seek some help. And that is a real truth that I'm saying right now. Disclaimer, I'm not telling you what to do. I am not licensed to tell you what to do. But if you do feel like you have a parent that's always putting you down, you need to talk to someone. Better help. Y'all can send me my check later.
I was going to say, this is not sponsored by, hell no, this ain't sponsored.
This is
But y'all
not
can send
sponsored.
a
But I'm
check.
just saying there's a resource. We're trying to provide there's resources for you. If you are a first generation under
Hmm.
18, you feel you need to talk to somebody. There are high school counselors that are getting paid to help you figure out that. So that's a resource. Tip. If you have that, and the word here is always. Always is the word. Disclaimer,
Hmm.
our parents may have sometime put us down, but I could say my mom, it was never always. It was Caribbean parents.
Hmm.
Sometimes they don't have a filter. They don't know how to say certain stuff with how American would like to put it, to not hurt
Mhm.
your feelings. So it may seem sometimes like they were putting you down. They was just trying to, they didn't like
And what
there's
is and then we gotta define what's putting down. Putting down the Caribbean way to tell you, girl, you look like skin and bones. You need to eat some food.
yeah. And to them, that's just showing you love because Caribbean is food is the thing, right? So they want to feed you all the time, and you're never gonna be have enough weight when you
Well,
come
then it
around your
flips.
Caribbean.
Then it
Yeah.
flips. Then when you are eating good, then they tell you too fat and you need to go work out or do something because you too fat. That's the
If you're
word.
not
You
married,
too fat.
if you're not married and have kids, then they will tell you that how you gonna pick up a husband. The men don't like this
Mhm.
kind of stuff. Always putting down to me is, well, I'm gonna take out the always.
Uh,
Putting down
Trying
in
to
the
like.
sense that I will say for me is when I wanted to talk to my mom about certain things, about becoming a woman, right? About
Mhm.
dating and not being like, oh, you're just a child. Oh, go sit down somewhere. Like not being able to express myself on certain things that I felt needed to happen because I'm a child, I need to understand. So there was that type of put down or that type of, and again, disclaimer, I don't think she was doing it to be, what is it? I don't think she was doing it to
Vindictive,
be, no, I
malicious,
don't, yeah, malicious. I just
malicious.
really think she couldn't, a lot of times when, again, disclaimer for me, when
Mm.
Caribbean parents are putting you down, is because they don't, that's what they were raised with. They just think it's tough love that they're giving you. Our American culture tells us differently that doesn't always work, right? And we have to be able to give space. So that's where for me the difference on the Caribbean parents and how they put down versus American, because you have to flip it, like they just thinking like I'm giving you tough love, I'm showing you tough love, I'm so,
Not
and
only
they're
that, a lot of times too, they don't have because of the depending on their upbringing, sometimes they don't have the vocabulary to use the correct
right.
words to articulate how they're really feeling.
And
So
that's
then
what I'm
it
saying
just
in our,
comes out
yeah,
like it just comes out like you eating
how it
too
comes
much.
out.
You need to eat. Yeah. Your belly big. You need to go work out. Your
Yes.
belly big.
Oh yeah,
You
like
don't know.
they
You don't
don't
know.
think like when they tell you like when you're too skinny, they don't think that it's gonna hurt your feelings. And
No.
or when you're fat
Like
and they
what's your
tell you that
feelings?
you,
What you mean you got
yes,
feelings? What's feelings?
yes, exactly. So
Don't
that's the
nobody know
thing
what
about
feelings are?
putting you down. They don't think that they're contributing negatively to telling you, "Oh, you're fat.
No.
Oh, why
Mm-mm.
why are you eating so much?" They don't think that there's anything wrong with that. But to you, it's putting you down because they don't understand that. So we're not making excuses, and we want to also teach this new generation of Caribbean parents and first generation that understand you have to understand where they're coming from. So if you're going to try to analyze them from the American culture that you have been assimilated to, you're not. It's always going to be put down. But when you take it off, take the fact that they're Caribbean, they ain't got no filter. They coming at you the way it was brought to them. That's where we grow up, and that's
And I
where we're
think
trying to accomplish here. And there's
yes, and
different
that's the
levels.
whole point.
Yeah, yeah,
Mhm. That's the
yeah.
whole point too of the podcast is to help
Right.
those because I feel like growing up because we didn't get a full understanding of what's
Hmm.
going on. I think if we knew at a younger age, we would have been able to give them more grace.
Right. And
We would
be
have been
better.
a-
Yeah, yeah.
I'm sorry. I just had a moment. We just would have been able to give them more grace cuz there's some foolishness they done told us growing up where we like, "What?" And it's just all a matter of also too, like you said, it's the culture. It's all about articulating yourself and how to better get your point across.
But what about
I
put
just
down? Put down. So another thing about put down that I would say is I will use my mom. There are certain fears that she had, right? So there
Oh
will be
gosh.
certain things. So I feel like
Let's-
maybe
Don't
not
get me
put down, and
started.
I don't know how you would explain it, but there will be certain things because she was fearful of, oh, you're in this country, remember you're Caribbean, remember this. So there will be things she's like, well, don't try that, don't do that, because, or don't take the opportunity to explore this, right? Because you got to remember it's not always in your favor. You're Haitian, they might not look at you. So I do know that my mom, and it's not because of it, it's just she certain sometimes carried a fear, for whatever reason. And I think that also there would be times where maybe if I wanted to try something, wanted to explore something, she would just be fearful, and I don't think try to put me down, but because of her fear, she's trying to keep me safe, keep me, just be in this level. Don't go. I don't know if that makes sense, but Lisa, why you looking like that? I'm just saying it's like their fear also could be sometimes a put down that they put on you because they're fearful for whatever reason. So if you give them oh, I want to do this or I want to try that, they're like, oh, why are you trying to do that? Why are you trying to? So that could be. Go ahead. Drake Watson, mind my business.
Yes. It's fair. It's not a little. It's fair. I ain't gonna even say that. It's not a little. It's fair. And that's a whole nother episode for me, and that's actually a very hot button for me. I feel some kind of way about that, but I get it. I get it. I get
Yeah,
it. As an adult, I get it. But when I was
yeah.
younger, I didn't get it. Yes, they do put their fears on us. Some parents are a little heavy-handed with it than others.
Mm-hmm.
I do I do believe that I don't think it's necessarily healthy to put your complete fears on your children because I am a firm believer that when you come down on your kids with an iron mallet of fear, you will a lot of times end up hindering your child. Okay. They may not be able to come to their greatest potential because you have instilled so much fear like a tornado on them that they themselves you see where I'm going with this, right? I'm gonna lay this on real thick.
See.
Earthquake levels of fear, hurricane levels of fear, tornado levels of fear. You are putting your kid at a great disadvantage in life because you are so engrossed and so crippled and paralyzed by fear. When you pass that along to your child, you are hindering them for their potential and their greatness. You
Mm-hmm.
don't even see the capabilities of what your child could be.
Mm-hmm.
Girl, that's a whole nother episode. Don't get me
Yeah.
started. I
So
just
let's move it right
we
along
just
with that.
we're gonna move along from this one because this
Yes.
clearly is a sensitive subject, a
So
very
then,
sensitive.
yeah. So then the next thing becomes, what's the most common family structure in the Caribbean? Let's settle the debate.
The most common is everyone to stay connected to their roots and using every opportunity to get back together to party and also going back to your country. That is the most common, I think, staying connected to your roots and going back to your country, visiting family, also to a part of connecting to your roots. I find that a lot of, as we're getting older, and I see it in my family, that a lot of my cousins are like potentially buying properties back home,
Mm-hmm.
finding opportunities, more opportunities for us to reconnect, stay connected with each other.
I would say
What do
also
you
authority. Authority is a very common family structure in the Caribbean. It's
are we
very
using that
common.
word this week?
What?
I said we
Authority?
using that word this week.
Yes, we were using that word this week, authority. To more to come on authority, people. But yeah, it's a blend of authority, it's love and good old island vibes, and it involves a lot of laughter. Once you get over to the other side, there's gonna be frustration, and it's okay. But then with that frustration, you eating rice and peas, so you're good. Once you get
Yeah,
a good,
girl.
once you get a good Caribbean food plate in front of you, half the time, look, you
Listen, I need my saltfish and bakes, man. I need
look
my
at
saltfish and
look
bakes.
at here, banan peze,
Nobody
sauce
can tell
pois.
me
Look at here now. Look at here.
my
Once you get
pilau, my rice and
look,
peas,
I'm just telling y'all.
my
So
broth.
authority, laughter, fete, parties, and good food. In that order.
Woo!
Love, laughter,
Yep.
frustration, but you come back together and you connect like Lisa said. So for fun, which countries do you think has the best parenting style?
Oh, girl, I don't know. Shit. I don't think we do. I'm gonna count us out.
I'm just gonna say all Caribbean islands bring their own flavor to parenting potluck. Okay, people, every one of them bring their own little
Who has the
spice.
best parenting style? Hmm.
I think it's all of them because it's all of them are just unique. Because then you're adding the flair of that island, you adding the accent of that island. You're adding like that. Every island has this own tone on their parenting style that I don't on the island. Look, all of them, I feel like have their own. There's not, we are just have
That's true.
different flares on how we do it, but we're all the same. Because I bet you, if you have Caribbean friends that are Haitian, Dominica, Trinidad, Tobago, and you go to their house, I promise you, the only thing that's going to be different is the accent. The only thing, because I promise you, the discipline and the parenting style is going to be the same. I like.
I think what the hell? I think Jamaicans have the best parenting style.
Oh
They be like
Lord.
everything is irie. Everything is irie.
See, Lisa said it. Don't be coming after me, y'all. I said, oh, we all are the color of the rainbow. I'm saying Switzerland on this one, okay?
She's saying Switzerland. Nah, the Jamaicans, blood clots, everything irie,
Because I would say
brethren.
Haitian, but there's a big debate
Oh
between
shit.
Haitian and Jamaican right now, so I'm not even opening that parenting style. We all are
Wait, they
uniquely
use
flavored.
oh
With
okay, my
rice.
bad.
There's a thing on TikTok or Instagram about who makes the best rice. Is it Jamaican or some? You know how these things be going. I just again parenting style. All of us are uniquely flavorful in how we parent, and
Yeah,
to
you
our
never tell no
Caribbean,
lie.
to our assimilated first generation, you have to be able to accept your parents as they are, accept
Oh,
what
that's
you're
the hard
learning.
one.
Yeah, accept what you're learning from them, and then apply what you're also being what did I say, deprogram from the American, because
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
there's going to be things in their parenting style based on your Caribbean parents discipline one way. They don't discipline how Americans do to the individual person. You're all getting the same butt whooping. No matter if you're a child that your discipline language is, if somebody says something to you, doesn't matter if you're a child that butt whoopings work for you, it doesn't matter if you're a child that quality time, it don't matter. They're gonna discipline all y'all with the three different personality with the same parenting style. That's the thing. Our American culture has taught us that each individual child is different, and you should learn that and discipline them accordingly so you get the most out of the discipline that sticks. Caribbean parents, let me tell y'all, okay, try it if you want to. Again, better help. This is not sponsored, but I'm just telling you, you better go talk to
Hot.
somebody. You better go
You
talk to
better
somebody. You're not going to. So yeah, that was our laughs and little spicy for you about Caribbean parenting chronicles. That's a wrap for another laughter filled episode of Island laughs, people. Thank you, dear listeners, dear Liming crew, for joining us on this Caribbean journey through parenting paradise.
Yes. And remember, whether you're sipping on sorrel or catching some rays on the beach, parenting time, whew, in the Caribbean is always an adventure. So until next time, keep the laughter alive, people. Keep the laughter alive.
Yes. Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of the Unfiltered Liming podcast. We hope you enjoyed the conversation and gained some valuable insight. Don't forget to subscribe to the show so you can catch every new episode and leave us a review so we can continue to bring you fresh, exciting content. And if you have a topic you'd like us to discuss or a story you'd like us to share, please reach out to us. Join us again next Thursday for another unfiltered conversation about the rich diversity and complexity of the Caribbean American experience. Until then, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep celebrating the unique cultural heritage that make us who we are. Unfiltered Liming is edited and produced by Unfiltered Liming.